looking for here on board. I want to thank all of you for joining. Allegiance. And Chuck, are you with us for the invocation? Thank you. So we get going. Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Test, 1, 2, 3. You know, an auctioneer always tests his mic.
You're good.
Almighty God and Father, in your presence at this evening's council meeting, we pray for the wisdom, insight, understanding, compassion, and all things that you've taught us, that we love and recognize each other's importance and work together as you have taught us. Lord God, we pray in your holy name for all the souls that have departed your earth and have gone home with you. We continue to pray, Lord God, that you bless all levels of leadership with your universal wisdom and understanding. We continue to ask you, Father, to please protect our protectors, first responders, police, and fire, medical personnel, as well as all service providers. And Father, please watch over our brave servicemen and women in uniform, wherever they may be, stationed and preparing for anything that may happen. We especially pray, Father, for those servicemen and women stationed in the lonely outposts of your world. Lord God, we pray for all these things through your Son, Jesus Christ, and we thank you for everything. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, roll call.
Mayor Madrid,
Here.
Vice Mayor Gonzalez, he'll be here. No, he'll be here.
Okay.
Councilmember Medina,
Present.
Councilmember Moat,
Here.
Councilmember Ryman,
Here.
Councilmember Sash,
Present.
and Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
We have one.
Okay. Consent agenda, item 4. All items listed below are considered consent calendar items and may be approved by a single motion unless removed at the request of a council member for further discussion and action. Other items on the agenda may be added to the consent calendar and approved under a single motion. Item 4A, consideration and possible action to approve minutes of January 27th, 2025 work session, regular meeting, which we found to be very productive. 4B, consideration and possible action to approve Town of Miami payroll for January 19th, 2025. And 4C, consideration and possible action to approve Teen Dating Violence Awareness Prevention Program proclamation, February of 2025. And I'm going to read up on that proclamation. This is about teen dating violence awareness and it's preventive month. Whereas every young person deserves to experience healthy, safe, and respectful relationships. And whereas 1 in 3 adolescent girls in the United States is a victim of physical, emotional, or verbal abuse from a dating partner, a figure that far exceeds victimization rates for other types of violence affecting youth. And whereas the sequences of dating violence can include anxiety, depression, poor academic performance, and an increased risk of experiencing future abusive relationships. And whereas nearly half of teens who expect dating violence report that incidents of abuse took place in the school building or on school grounds. And whereas education and awareness play a crucial role in preventing teen dating violence by empowering young people with the knowledge and skills to recognize, avoid, and report unhealthy relationships. And whereas families, schools, community organizations, and local leaders must work together to promote safe environments and support victims of dating violence. And whereas Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month provides an opportunity to amplify the voices of young survivors, encourage open discussions about healthy relationships, and strengthen community resources, dictating to prevention and intervention. And whereas we can all take part in raising awareness and preventing teen dating violence through the following actions. Wear Orange Day. On Monday, Friday the 10th, individuals are encouraged to wear orange as a symbol of support for survivors of teen dating violence. By wearing orange, we raise awareness and show solidarity with those affected by abuse. Item 2, educational workshops and community events. Attend or host local workshops, seminars, and events focused on understanding healthy relationships, identifying the signs of dating violence, and supporting survivors. Schools, youth organizations, and community centers can serve as key venues for these activities. Item 3, social media campaign. Use your social media platforms to spread awareness about teen dating violence. Share facts, resources, and survivor stories to help educate your network. Consider using hashtags like hashtag TeenDV Month, hashtag NTeenDV Month, and hashtag healthy relationships. Check out the @GCPHCS social for shareable posts. Support local resources. Reach out to local organizations that provide support to victims of teen dating violence. Consider donating time, resources, or funding to help expand the reach of these critical services. Item 5, promote healthy relationship education. Encourage schools and youth groups to implement programs that teach young people about healthy relationships, consent, respect, and communication. These programs are essential to prevention. Now therefore, I, Gil Madrid, Mayor of the Town of Miami, Arizona, to hereby proclaim February 2025 as Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month in the Town of Miami, and encouraging all citizens to join in raising awareness, promoting prevention efforts, and supporting survivors in our community. In witness whereof I have hereunto my hand, have hereunto set my hand and pause to the seal of Miami, Arizona, to effect the 10th day of February 2025. And I'll be doing that after the meeting, before the meeting, okay? All right, so If the councilmen have anything they want to talk about in item 4 items, if not, we'll go to vote.
Mr. Mayor, move to accept the consent agenda as stated. Second.
Okay. Councilman Ryman motion to accept the agenda as stated. Councilman, oh my goodness. Stewart, thank you. He's a good friend of mine, can you believe it? Councilman Stewart seconded. So, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Unanimous. Okay. Item 5, committee reports and general demands. 5A, consideration and possible action to approve the general demands for January 17th, 2025 to January 30th, 2025. Any discussion here? Looking through your documents.
Mayor,
Please.
move to approve the general demands for January 17th, 2025 to January 30th, 2025.
Councilman Ryman moved to approve,
Second.
and Councilman Moat seconded. All those that in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item 6, reports, recognitions. 6A is town manager report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before we start, I want to present our new council, Lawyer John Palatini. He's the DH. He needs to be hitting hard in these incoming meetings with the baseball bat. In front of you, you have the updates. We started the CBDG project of the stairs. You have already a report in front of you. They're showing where we at, what was accomplished in the first 2 days. They start last Friday. You can see all the information. We're going to have every 2 weeks, we're going to have a report of the construction. By February 25th, the week, we're going to start the Vandals Park project renovation. We present, you have a copy in front of you, letter to the legislators in the state of Arizona regarding the state of our roads. We present that letter on March 30th on the annual legislation date. We want to continue the conversation. Next week, we're going to be contacting legislator for the Region 7. Those are the ones that under the town of Miami. We want to continue, I'm going to request your support. You can call them, send an email, and tell them how important for us is this project of the road. You have another 2 packages from Arizona Local First. That's the collaboration that we're doing with them and other jurisdictions at the state of Arizona to due to the federal and state appropriation funding. They limited in some areas, but we continue calling them to not passing those sales tax news situation that we have with the sales tax. They want to take it to the state and not send it to the small community like us. Moving forward, we start last Friday the grant for the police department with the support from the Sergeant Hernandez and the staff, Stephanie. We start the process application and identify the priorities on the $2.2 million grant. And then the process of the annexation, we send already the contract to some of the partners at the industrial zone, and we request a meeting with the team, Humphrey, Supervisor Humphrey. We talked about this a few minutes ago, and we received a good response from them. That's what we have.
I was impressed a lot with the report on the steps, the progress that they've made, with the pictures and all. It's a good job. We're gonna get one every 2 weeks.
That's correct.
Excellent.
I have a
I'd like to, go ahead.
For Alexis, with all the shifting federal funding and the 2.2 million on the paving project, is that gonna affect it?
We can talk after the meeting and we're going to.
Alexis, did you include in your report what you did at the league legislative luncheon?
Yes, is regarding to the letter that we presented,
Yeah.
it's a copy that I present to the mayor and council.
Right, but for more detail, I was very impressed. First time, I've been to several of those meetings, luncheons with the legislators, and blew everybody's mind that somebody finally made a presentation for the legislators. He had a real nice green notebook, and I was impressed. So just about every legislator that was there got one of those, so thank you, Alexis. Good job.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Item 6B, Mayor Council Reports. I'd like to thank all of the gals that came in with their orange and black outfits. Did they leave us?
Yeah.
I should have done it after the proclamation, I guess. But that is a big item to us. It really is, and we want to do more than just what we have on the whereases, if we possibly can. I'm going to look into that. Any comments from you guys regarding that? Okay.
Raising grandkids, it's a everyday occurrence.
Yes, it is. And I think that's a great proclamation to sign. I'm honored to do it. And in terms of M. Hill support, I think Richard will be speaking to us later on on this subject, but I want to just emphasize that we're really moving ahead in a big way on M. Hill. We could call it phase 2. There's a lot of work to be done. We're going to repair the M itself. We're going to add to the trail that we put in with Stations of the Cross and some steps at the bottom, getting ready to go on up, permanent steps. And we'll be doing that in the next, some of it will start probably the week before, the last week of February, I should say. And then the schedule for the M itself, the concrete repair and so forth, is scheduled for March the 8th, but you'll be hearing more about that as we move forward. And that's all I got. Any councilman want to have a subject you want to bring up?
I promised Karen that I'd hold it down this time.
Anyone else? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I may. Again, I wanted to reach back out to my fellow council members and encourage them to please spend some time with our police department. I took it upon myself to do 2 ride-alongs with our officers. I did an evening shift and a daytime shift. And I learned a heck of a lot about our town and their challenges. And the department was really happy to see somebody being curious and wanting to learn more about what they do and why. And it made a big impact for them, and it certainly made a big impact on me. I saw officers that knew every inch of this town like the back of their hand, and that they're very invested in this town, and they care. And that's a rare commodity to have. And the least we can do is, as council people and as citizens, is to, when you see them, give them a wave, say hi, how you doing? That means, a little thing means a lot. And so please join me in spending some time with them. They've got lots to say, lots to show. And it makes a big impact, and our support to them means a lot. So thank you very much.
Councilman, if I may, you're preaching to the choir.
When are you signed up?
All of us have through the years. How long have you been on the council, sir? How many times have you
Twice.
had incidences that we assisted in? They're being polite to you, but ask any other councilman at what time in their career here had they been with the police. I'm just covering us. It sounded to me like we're not doing our part.
No, the point I'm trying to make is that it means a lot to them to show. As a council, that my view is, I'm up here and I can make potential decisions on policy that affect our police department and our town safety.
Sure.
And for my own peace of mind, I feel I owe it to myself and our town to really understand what's going on. So as these instances come up before us, we make a good, informed decision, or speaking for myself, I make a good informed decision and have a good conscience.
That's good, that's good. But I just want to add a little bit of history too, that there's officers here that are no longer here that we used to ride along with and knew a lot about. But I understand what you're talking about, but I'm sure that the council would agree with me, right? At one time or other, communicated, if not rode around with them. So, anyway, thank you for what you did though.
I have to agree with both of you, and all the councilmen here. I've spent some time with the police, and we are fortunate to have the kind of commitment that we have from our police department. When I found out that 7 out of 8 of them, the 8 that we have, all live in the valley. Some drive as far as from Peoria up here because they love Miami. So we want to always give them credit, wave and thank them for their service. And I second that in a big way.
Mr. Richard Shaw.
Okay, call to the public.
Boo.
Mayor and council, before the person start, you need to read the first word Arizona statute, please. I can wait.
Did I do something wrong?
Where was that?
We need to read it.
About?
Yeah.
I thought we had it back here on 9B.
The Arizona Patrol revised statute need to be read before any public will gonna start item number 7.
Number 7.
Yes.
Okay, call to the public pursuant to Arizona Revised Statutes 38-431.01H. At this time, members of the public may address the town council on any issue within the council's jurisdiction that is not on the agenda. There is a 3-minute limit for each speaker. The council's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Council members are not permitted to discuss or take legal action on a matter raised during the call to public. Okay.
Mayor, council members, my name is Jess Bryant. I kind of try to lead the charge in organizing the Independence Day celebration every year. And while the vision is, and always has been, to have a community-wide holiday weekend-long celebration, much of those events happen here in Miami because the town of Miami has been such a friendly place to have events. And I want to say my great appreciation for that continuing experience, and the support of the staff and council members have continued to be tremendous and such great assets to the vision we have for this community, the shared vision we have for our community. So just let you know that as we move closer, now just over 4 months away from July 4th, believe it or not, that we have big plans and working on those plans, and they will go on hopefully Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and who knows, maybe even Sunday. Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, hopefully even Sunday. 4th will be on a Friday this year. So everybody is always welcome. This is not an exclusive group. Anybody that wants to make a contribution, has an idea for another event to add to our lineup, anybody and everybody is welcome. My philosophy is the more the merrier, the bigger the better. So keep that in mind and keep your eyes open. We will keep you updated on the great things we have planned for our Independence Day. And I got to say, I've said it before, but I'll say it again, 2025 is the 250th anniversary of the start of the American Revolution, the famous ride of Paul Revere, and the battles of Concord and Lexington. 2026 will be the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the birth of the United States of America. So these are very important dates that we want to do our utmost to celebrate and remember. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, Jess, when you get a chance, let's get together about a colonial flag and some other things.
Anyone else?
Are we gonna shoot the cannon, Jesse?
Hey, let's see.
Good evening, Mayor Madrid. My name is Nora Green, and council. I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what Phil was talking about with the police department, because we visited with Alexis, and he was very helpful, but I just want to stay on top of the speeding problem that we have on Live Oak Street. I have a shop on the corner of Live Oak and Miami Avenue. Yesterday afternoon, we saw a semi. He had it been going almost 60 miles an hour, blow through a red light. I mean, we were talking a very red light, and there was a car sitting there waiting. Everybody waits patiently for the semis to go through to keep from getting hit, and it is becoming such a huge problem. I'm in my shop, my windows rattle. It's insane how crazy people are driving right now. And maybe we need another speed limit sign over there. We've got one that I know of that's back by the park, but we've got to do something. We're going to have a major issue right there. And every weekend we just cringe. I mean, it's getting really scary. So we just wanted to bring it to your attention. Which I know
Thank you.
it's already there.
Thank you very much. Any other calls? Okay. Moving forward, item 8, unfinished business. Item 9, new business. Nothing on the agenda for that. 9A, new business, information, discussion, and possible action, presentation regarding M Hill cleanup request, use of Miami Veterans Park and facilities for a picnic on March the 8th after the cleanup. Richard?
Yes, sir.
brought his army with him.
This is my posse.
Hey.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Richard Huerta. I was born and raised in Miami, and as you can tell by the way I'm dressed, I love Miami. We are here tonight representing the M Project. The immediate goal of the M Project is to beautify the M by removing the vegetation and the weeds that are infringing upon this magnificent symbol which represents our town. It so happens that this year is the 90th anniversary of the building of the M. The story of its inception is a beautiful story. In 1935, a few students, just like the ones we have here tonight, desiring to stimulate school spirit, petitioned the school administration to have a symbol representing the school erected on the highest hill overlooking the town. That hill at that time was known as the Show Me Hill, which I never knew. The students built the M themselves. They carried everything that they needed to build that M up the hill. They carried rocks, cement, and the tools that they needed to build that M. Those students wanted that M to stand for the growth of their school spirit, which was kindled from a glowing ember to a burning flame. All it took were a few students to start that process, and it's the same spirit that these magnificent students that we have here tonight are going to expand. The M represents a united student body, and it is a monument which will be cherished for many years to come. And these students are going to make sure that the M will live on forever. I am pleased to announce that the students of Miami High School have been given the authorization from Dr. Richard Ramos, Superintendent of the Miami Unified School District number 40, to begin the process to become a sanctioned club to be the guardians of the M. And that was our desire as the M Project Committee, to eventually turn it over to the school and the students to guard the M. At this time, we would like to extend our gratitude to Mayor Gil Madrid for having saved Show Me Hill and our majestic M. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very well. I give my wife some credit too.
The other desire of our M Project Committee was to reconnect the students of the Miami Unified School District with their community by joining together with alumni. I have witnessed that in a very short period of time, a very dynamic and motivated movement has been formed and has accomplished much in a short period of time. This type of joint venture can accomplish much more in the future. We are very fortunate tonight to have with us some of the best and brightest from Miami High School. They are eager to keep the Vandal traditions, spirit, and pride alive in their school and in their community. These students will play an integral part in building a bridge between the town of Miami and their school, which can be utilized to build a brighter future for our town. At this time, I would like to invite each student and their sponsor, Ms. Joy Wilson, to come up and introduce themselves to the council and inform the council of their involvements in their school and how they feel about being involved in the Miami project.
Hi guys. For those of you who know me, I'm Andrew Brown. I'm part of student council. I'm your freshman class president, and really the M is a big thing. It's a huge thing actually. It's on our hill, as you can tell. And really we have to restore it because that's the one way that no matter what, it will go through time. Joy Wilson, our history teacher over there, we've been learning about Rome. You know, they've lasted thousands of years. Think about Miami that way, you know.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nevaeh Figueroa. I'm the student body president at Miami High School, and recently we've been trying to fix the M because it's very important to our community, and it stands for our school spirit. And recently we've been doing like sign-up sheets for everyone who's interested with helping, and I think it'll be a very great opportunity for our town to come together and help our community in the best way we can. Thank you.
What was your name again?
Nevaeh Figueroa.
Nevaeh, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Viren Rujim, and I am your junior class student council president. I'm also involved in NHS, FFA, a lot of sports, and a few small extracurriculars around the school. To me, the M is a fun time for Globe Miami students to compete in a safe way that is not harmful to the environment and to our towns. I believe that rebuilding the M and working together as a school and as a class would mean a lot because it is a symbol of tradition for everyone that has lived here for so long. Like Richard mentioned, the M was built in 1935, which means it's been 90 years since its creation. I believe that we need to keep it going for another 90. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Trayshawn Comparik. I am the sophomore class president from the Miami High School, and I am the chief executive ambassador of the club that Mr. Huerta had talked about. And I would like to say that I, Dr. Ramos, my fellow students, and Ms. Joy Wilson, along with multiple past alumni and multiple students, we are ready and eager to finally bring the spirit of revival back to Miami. And I call out to you for your support, for your dedication, just like ours. And I'm not asking you to move a mountain, but I need you to move a couple pebbles. We'll move the mountains. And lastly, I have to say this. We are Miami, we are the Vandals, and we are one. Thank you.
Set it up for a photo op.
Sure, wait a minute, there's one more.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joy Wilson, a Miami resident and third generation Vandal. My grandmother graduated in 1943 from the old high school. My aunts and my mom and dad graduated from the new high school, and then I did in 2002. I'm really excited to work on the M and expand the connection between us and the high school. I think there's been a slight disconnection over the years because the high school got moved. And the disconnection of where the school's located now and then coming over here, this project, inviting the kids back and having a say and help with restoring, I think will help with the school spirit and connection to a lot of us generations that were never over on this side of town for high school, but love Miami nevertheless. These kids are all the best of the best, the leaders in the school, and they're really excited to help with this project and to continue on to create the M Club at school so future generations can really focus and work on this besides just handing it all just to student council, but have to invest a club to support the M. And we have some different ideas for future events on the M. The seniors last year decided to do their senior sunset up there with the great help of the new cutting of the trail up there. They were able to hike up there, and I was able to go up there with them without falling. But just adding things in like that, and possibly a lantern walk during homecoming, things like that to reincorporate that location to connect with our second Miami High School, and like Trayshawn was saying, to create that bridge between a space that's been kind of empty for a while, and to connect these new students. This back here, you have the class of 2025, 26, 27, 28. I believe the kindergartners are class of 38, I believe. And to start also connecting the elementary schools in as well, so it becomes a tradition from kindergarten up to be around the M.
Very good.
I have a question. I know in the past you guys had work committees on certain days, like before the Copper Kettle game and all that, but now you have the M Club. How does a student get involved in that? Is it volunteer?
Yeah, we're still working on the specific club rules and stuff with Trayshawn, and but it'll just be, you just come join the club, come join the meetings. He's taken on the leadership position himself, being a sophomore, and his class council has joined in with them to create that, which to me is also a great idea because, I mean, they're sophomores. They're going to be around for another couple of years to kind of set the base for this club. And it'll be separate than student council, but a lot of our kids do both. But it'll just be come to the meetings, sign up for the events, and have committees.
How many members do you have right now?
Right now it's just 6? Yeah. Just the 6 officers, and then once we get all the logistics worked out, they're going to make their own little constitution and that kind of stuff for their club, and then we'll open it up to everybody else.
Recruiting on the way. Thank you.
When this idea came into my mind, I said, man, how are we going to get the students involved? Well, I thought about Joy Wilson. I said, that's the first call I'm going to make. And before you know it, she had these 6. And then when they showed, I was thinking, man, is this going to go? Is this project going to happen? And our first meeting, when they showed up, my confidence level just went sky high. I said, we're going to make this happen. We're going to make it go, and it's because of them that they're going to make this go. And I saw the enthusiasm right away when they showed up at that first meeting. We had 20 people at that first meeting, and I was really concerned, how many people are we going to have at that first meeting? 20 people, that was a success, to me. And I knew we were going to make this go, and sure enough, that train just left that station and it went full speed ahead, and that's where we're going right now. And some of these students, they had other activities tonight. Nevaeh, I think softball, right?
Yes.
Who had wrestling? Okay.
Yeah, track.
And track?
And tennis.
Okay, so they are all over the place at Miami High School, and they are the best and the brightest, and we're lucky to have them in our committee. And they're a joy to be with, and you ask them to do something, they're there, and I love these kids. And, okay. And thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. And even though the students will take over the maintenance of the M Project Committee will still be active. We're not going to go anywhere. The committee will serve in a support role for the students and their club. So when I'm gone, Trayshawn's going to come back to Miami like I did, and he's going to be standing up here talking to you guys. And we will continue meeting with the students in order to strengthen our bond. But we need the council's support. We need you. The students need you. We feel that between all of us pulling the rope in the same direction, the future for Miami will be forever bright. These students need you. I would like to extend an invitation to each council member to feel free to attend the M Project Committee meetings and to let me know if you would like to be added to our group chat to obtain up-to-the-minute committee news and meeting details. At this time, I would like to extend a gracious thank you to Evelyn Vargas, Phil Stewart, and Gil Madrid for your support and guidance, which has been invaluable to the M Project Committee. We could not have done it without you. After the cleaning of the M, which will be on March 8th, we will be having a celebratory picnic at Veterans Park at approximately 12 p.m. I would like to extend an invitation to the council to attend and partake in the hamburgers and hot dogs. We would like to eventually make this a yearly event, sort of an M Project Fun Day. And if the M needs some work done, we'll do it in the morning and then have our hamburgers and hot dogs in the afternoon. And I would be happy to entertain any questions.
Let's talk about the basketball game for tomorrow night. We need to go.
I'm staying overnight. I'm going to the game tomorrow, so.
So all of you that don't know what's going on over there in Miami High School, the girls' basketball team are, for the season, they're at 18 wins, 0 losses, and they're playing Valley Christian School that's 17-1 for the championship. And it starts at 7 p.m. tomorrow, and we're going to be there to root for our
We sure will.
Vandals.
And I think I mentioned a little story to the group on Saturday. We have a Miami Vandals spirit stick now. And it was my dad's walking stick. And it was brown. It was just brown. And I asked my dad, can I have the stick? And he can't walk anymore. He's in a wheelchair. And I've been talking to him about the M Project, and he gets excited every time I mention it. And he goes, yeah, I'll give you the stick, but you have to paint it green. So it's green now. It's green. And I would like to end by saying, and I would like to thank Evelyn Vargas for coming up with this saying, which I really love. And at the first sight, when I saw it, I fell in love with it. And as of this day forward, it will be our mantra for our M Project Committee. And she stated on one of the websites, what once was will again be. And that's our mantra. And we've been putting up these posters, these flyers all over town and in Globe, and I think as far as Roosevelt Lake. And we've also been putting up these table tents at restaurants, and you'll see them at Burger House and the El Rey. So if you want a closer look, we have a few here.
Can the junior high be involved in this?
We're getting there, Mr. Moat. We're heading that way.
Good deal.
Because we're thinking if we get them early, they'll be here at the meeting.
And I think it's a great idea.
The question out there. Hey, Richard?
Yes, sir.
So, how do the local businesses get involved to donate to this cause? My kids all graduated from Miami High School. I moved here in 1999, so I'm not an alumni. But I've always been really supportive of the school.
You know, these flyers have a section here, how to donate.
Okay.
And they also have a barcode and gives you all the information. So there it is, and you can Zelle, Venmo, or send checks, and it gives you all the information. And we want your children in our committee, and we want you also.
Okay.
And anybody here that wants to be involved with this committee can just
I'll take you up on that. Yeah.
just check our website, hit the M Project, and contact me. It's got my name and phone number there. So,
Cool. Thank you.
and all these are all over town.
Good.
If I may, Mayor, can I ask how many vandals are here, if you can stand up?
How about former vandals?
Once the vandal, always the vandal.
Yes, always a vandal.
We got some up here too.
4 here.
Looking.
I'm a coyote.
Always been a
Hey, how do you guys feel about doing a photo op right here with all the vandals and with them in the middle? Sound good?
For the newspaper.
For the newspaper, he's right over there.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you guys come around over here?
Good job, Victor.
Before you go to photo op, you have to vote on giving permission to use the Veterans Park facility, so I suggest you do that, and then you can have your
Good
fun.
point. We do.
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
You need a second for, you need a second.
We need a motion. I'll make the motion to.
You got the motion? Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Motion by Councilman Stewart.
To approve?
To approve and seconded by Councilman Medina.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Unanimous.
I'm sorry, Nick.
What are you doing, man?
Michael? I bet.
By suicide, Marvin.
You're fine. Yeah, I guess.
Come on.
I can't bend down for this.
All right.
Really short.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to item 9B, information, discussion, and possible action, possible approval to submit to public auction property owned by the town of Miami located at Pershing Circle and Pinal Avenue. Alexis.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At this moment, I want to receive the authorization from the town of Miami to auction this property. Right now, we're not having any kind of use, and we prefer to start bringing some revenue to the town in this matter.
Okay. Any comments from?
I have a comment. In lieu of certain particular property activity here, how accurate is that survey for that lot? So we don't avoid, so we can avoid any future issues?
I don't have any answer for that because some areas during the jurisdiction of the town of Miami, they're inaccurate. For some reasons that is out of the hand of the town of Miami. If we decide to have a survey for that property, we don't know if the cost of the survey versus the auction can equalize, can be a gain, can be a loss.
Right.
But at this time, we don't have that specific limitation, district, I'm sorry, any kind of form to know if it's the correct parcel.
Because my concern would be if the property is conveyed with an existing survey, which could be easily called into question at a future date, could that potentially expose the town to any litigation?
Mayor, council, if you're talking about the legal, are you talking about the legal summary, legal description on the second page, or was there an actual survey done?
The actual survey.
Okay. Typically, if there's an actual survey done, then it should be reliable. So the town's relying on the surveyor. I don't know how long the survey was done, whether the surveyor is still around, but typically you do get, some professional liability coverage for that. So I think that the survey, it's done by a registered or licensed surveyor, it's deemed reliable, wherever the pins are on the ground. So that would be the legal description we would use to attach to the deed if you have a successful bidder.
So if somebody was to challenge that, our survey would be defensible?
It would be.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, somebody would have to have some sort of other survey that contradicts it. But as you know, people build walls and build fences, and it waggles through the property line. So the good news is that if the two neighbors to the right on that screen, you can't get adverse possession against the government. So the real property line remains a real property line regardless if there's any encroachments. And that would be up to we would sell the property as is with no warranties.
Okay.
And then we would have any potential buyer rely on the title company for any kind of, title insurance. So the title company would be the one defending the title.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other comments?
I have a question. Since it's public property and we're offering it for sale, is there a minimum we have to get to make it legal?
No, that's why you put it out to auction, put it out to bid, and the highest bid is what highest cash bid is the bid you would take, that would be deemed fair market value.
Okay,
You could go out and get an appraisal, but similar to the survey, this property isn't worth a whole lot of money, so it's not advisable. And an appraisal, I don't want to offend any appraisers, but appraisals are sort of an expert's guess as to what the value is. It's what someone's willing to pay, and that's why when you put it out to bid, and the public can bid on it, that's considered fair market value, the highest bid.
Well, the reason I ask is on the backup documentation here, we have the appraisal values from the assessor's office.
Right, those don't reflect fair market value though.
I'm sorry?
Assessor values don't reflect actual fair market value. They're an assessor's figure. Typically, they're low compared to the actual market value of property. This property is sort of on a hill, it's on a slope, probably somewhat difficult to develop.
Possibly not even worth what this...
Yeah, well, could be. But again, that's how you determine the fair market value, is what a willing buyer is willing to sell and a willing seller is willing to...
So there's no legal restrictions that we have to get X amount of...
The legal restriction is you put it out to bid and then the best price. And you also always have the choice of rejecting all offers if you as the council determine that the dollar value isn't worth it and you may want to save it for later.
Any others?
I got a question. John, let's say that I offered $500 for the property and nobody else bid. I would get it for 500?
You would, because you'd have a conflict of interest, but.
No,
No, that's why I say you can always reject offers if you deem that they're not,
ridiculous offer won't fly.
Yeah, you could, in other words, if you got one bidder and he offered you $1, you could reject any and all offers.
So if I step down from the council, I got a chance?
Not anymore.
Thank you.
Okay. Any motions here?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve, to submit to public auction property owned by the town of Miami located at Pershing Circle and Pinal Avenue.
Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor Gonzalez, motion to approve. Councilman Medina, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Unanimous again.
Hammer? Motion passed. Thank you.
I'm gonna hold this in my hand so I won't
Yes.
forget. All right, 9C. Okay, it's update regarding the strategic planning work session. I just wanted to make sure we had it on the agenda to give everybody an update. We are confirmed to do this planning session on March the 1st at William Plaza. We got that, Phil, right? Okay. So it's 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., 5 hours. And I would like to see all the councilmen there. I don't know what the final confirmation was.
Mr. Mayor, when this was initially discussed, I indicated I was available anytime in February
You did.
and not March. I have a show on the 1st of March in Sierra Vista. So I will not be there, and apparently, since you guys knew that, it's not important that you have my opinion.
Well, we can get your opinion before you go. It does matter, believe me. And the only way we could get the help that we've hired is to go out to March the 1st. She was
So,
booked solid in
More
February.
important that you have that help than Councilman. at the
No, it's not
meeting.
more important. It's but it's
That's
something.
what you just said.
No, it's not. It's somebody that we need to have that gave us a really good price with a great background. And any of the councilmen that can't make it can tell us what they think and give us their opinions on issues, and we'll be sure to use them.
Don't know what the issue's gonna be.
It's all the goals that we're going to be discussing and moving forward on.
Mayor, if I may, I'm getting some weird reactions from Chuck Broder over there. No, I'm just kidding. Just to let you know, there's an event going on that day. From what time to what time?
What time do you end?
At 9 o'clock at night?
9 o'clock at night, starts at like 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay, so it's in the evening, so there's no conflict at all right there. Okay, I just thought I'd bring it up, Christine.
If the Miami Vandals make it to the championship, if they win Tuesday and Thursday, the semifinals are like the 21st.
21st.
And then the first would be the state final championship game. And so I think that, I'm just saying that a lot of the community would be going to that.
9 o'clock in the morning.
In the morning.
It'll be November, the 1st.
Well, March 1st is the day of that strategic.
What time is the basketball
9 o'clock.
championship?
9 o'clock in the morning.
In the morning.
So I'm just saying, you know what I mean, there's conflict, I just wanted to bring that up.
Mayor, I also will not be attending that. I do have work related for my job that I'll be attending in Washington DC. So I won't be available for March 1st.
Trump's invitation?
It's work related.
Well, we could move to March the 2nd.
that's what they need to do. Give us direction what we want to do, because I think use of preservation code is more specific and better
Well, it wasn't like the
drafted. They just repeal this and put it on the historic preservation code in lieu of this. So that's what they need, so we'll see direction on it.
To me,
What do you think? Try to move it out to March 2nd?
Doesn't help me.
No, I know, it doesn't.
I don't know if it helps Sammy or not, flying back on the second.
Yeah, I'll be back Saturday evening. My flight arrives at 8 o'clock back in Phoenix.
That's a Sunday, though.
Family day.
Yeah, Mayor, state law prohibits official government business on Sundays.
Really?
Of
Yeah.
course.
I didn't know that.
It's a throwback, but it says you can do official state business Monday through Saturday essentially. So I would advise not to do it on a Sunday.
Well, I didn't know that. Cool.
Okay, well, we'll leave it as is for now.
Yeah, and I think there were some other ones. Yeah, and I think there were some other ones between then and nothing official. Yeah, 'cause who's the mayor?
Rosemary.
Right, and Chewy was before Rosemary? Because we had a big one with Chewy, so it was before Rosemary, we had one. Okay. Anyway, I submitted a list of my concerns, and I was suggest maybe bringing those issues up for thought. at meetings.
It will be agendized, so you guys can discuss whatever you need to discuss.
Yeah.
So there won't be anything you won't be able to discuss.
Because I found out from experience that it's kind of hard sometimes to get people to meet other than official business like tonight. Because there's other activities going on with clubs and sporting events and the like. I mentioned to you, Alexa, that we need to get a calendar, a big calendar going.
Mayor and council, I can recommend, in the light of the elements of the calendars, if you want an hour before the council meeting, at least 4 to 5.
No, I,
Got a question.
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
part of the public. I don't know how extensive you consider public. I'm a former Miami resident.
You need to go over to the mic.
Thank you.
Yeah, name and address, please.
Okay. My name is Dr. Juanita Campos. Most people know me by Jenny. I lived in Miami. I was born and raised in Miami, Arizona, graduating class 1964. So that gives you an idea how old I am. Anyway, I, of course, am very, very interested in the town of Miami and its current sort of spirit of revival. I think that was a wonderful phrase that was mentioned by, I think, the high school group. And so I'm very seriously interested in the town of Miami, even though I don't live here and considering moving back. I hope you accept this with all due respect. In my career, I have worked around the world for various agencies as a trainer. And I have led many, many strategic development planning sessions. And just hearing the discussion right now, I humbly submit that I don't think you're going the right way in planning this strategic planning session. We need to agree that 2025 is a very unique point in time. It's not 2014, it's not 2012, it's not 2024. And to update strategic thinking and thinking about where this new council needs to go, you begin with today. Begin with where you are today. And as city council members, you are the brains in the planning for this town. And I would say it would be absolutely critical, if not mandatory, for everybody for you all to decide how you're going to carve your time out, but to come to an agreement that it's critically important for every single voice on this city council to be heard. I think probably everybody has a different idea of what a strategic in this meeting. So my advice would be not to rush through it. The worst thing to do is to approach this piecemeal. I can be there, but he can't. He can be there, but I can't. Well, let's agree on a time that is convenient for everybody to put some targeted thinking and decision-making on paper in order to move forward. I think Alexis may have suggested something about do 2 hours this time and 2 hours that time. That would be a pretty good way to approach it. If you can't get all city council members to agree on a 4-hour or a 5-hour chunk of time to do a strategic planning session. So I think there are some options. But I'm so afraid, just as I hear the conversation going, that it's kind of could be haphazardly put together, and I can't be there, I can't be there, maybe I don't want to be there. Your city council members, you have the future of this town in your hands. I frankly believe in all the experience I have had leading corporations, Raytheon Missile Systems, places in the United Nations, all sorts of organizations, and doing strategic planning sessions. It is the bedrock, I think, of moving forward and moving together in a unified way, in a way where all voices, dissenting and voices of agreement, move ahead. So I'm simply urging you that in planning to do your strategic planning session, for everybody to be clear on what it's going to be, on what it can be, on what it needs to be. Before you go about deciding on times, I can go, I can't go, I don't want to go, they don't want to go. So again, I'm just pleading with you as an interested former Miami resident and one who will very soon become another Miami resident to approach the strategic planning session thinking and decision-making very carefully. So I offer this as love for this town and based on experience I've had, and I hope you accept it in that good spirit. Thank you very much for letting me have the time here, and continue with your good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got one more question.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Evelyn Vargas, 506 West Sullivan Street, Miami, Arizona. I've been instrumental in acquiring the consultant for the strategic planning. Her name's Adrienne Darby from Pinnacle Prevention. She is so versed and so has a knowledge about our community. And she would be an excellent facilitator. I don't mind continuing to see if we can find a date that's good for everyone, even if it's an afternoon, a late afternoon for 5 hours, maybe from 3 to 8, something like that. We can sit down, I can get together with the mayor, town manager, and figure out sometimes, send those out through Karen to all the council and find out a good time for all of us to be able to meet if you would like.
Thank you, Evan. Well, I can see there's a lot of mixed opinions about what we need to do, but I too have been on these strategic processes many a time in my career. And I found that the most profitable ones, the ones that really make a difference, are the ones that are planned out where you can sit down with all of the participants and go through the whole process of understanding what your strategy is going to be, what your goals are to put together that strategy, and to do it, for an hour or two every meeting, it kind of loses its power to get to where you want to get. And this particular item, I have to say, and I've said it before, Miami cannot go without a strategic plan in place. We're not going to be able to prove to all of those that are supporting our, I don't want to call them competitors, our neighbors, all the other towns and cities in Arizona are getting a lot of attention because they have a good, strategic plan in place. And to get that strategic plan in place, you have to have the people that are going to help you make that decision and move forward. You're going to have the people that are going to implement that plan, that are going to commit to it. And then you're going to talk about, getting some committees from the council or from the public or a mix to be a part of that process, to make sure that we're moving forward in the directions that is best for Miami, and can help that process if we run into trouble in one spot or another. So as much as I hate that we can't get all of our councilmen here together, if we wait until April, then what's going to happen? And then we'll see ourselves way out in the halfway through the year, still not, getting to where we want to get. And I just plead with all of you to understand why I don't want to get off of the March 1 date. And I apologize to Councilman Ryman. It's not anything personal. It's just that we've got to get it, and we're not going to be able to vote on anything. We're just going to get it all put out on paper, exactly what we want to do, and then it's going to be put together by the consultant and her team, and we'll get it, and then we can talk about it, we can make adjustments, we can meet on it. I value our councilmen and their opinions, I really do. And I don't want to lose that. But I don't think we're going to lose it, because we're not going to vote on it until we're all satisfied with the end result. But the first step in this process is to get it done. And we had to push out of February, as much as I hated to do it. We had a good opportunity for a great council that has, she's been in Miami. She loves Miami, and she wanted to be a part of it, so she gave us a great rate. You couldn't beat it. Some people were saying it was going to cost $40,000 to get a consultant. It didn't. She's doing it for $1,000 because she loves Miami, and she's darn good at what she does. I don't want to lose that. There's no point in that. So, with all due respect, I want to leave it at March 1. Anybody else? Okay, moving on, 9D, information, discussion, possible action, possible direction to staff to make corrections to Miami Town Code, Chapter 17.72, Design Review Board and Ordinance Number 286, creating the Miami Historical District, bring it back to council for review and possible approval. Alexis?
Mayor, Council, so in 1998, this council adopted Chapter 1772, which was a design review board, creation of a design review board. It was a design review board for historic preservation purposes, and in fact, the ordinance at the time actually created the Miami Historical District. So fast forward to 2003, the ordinance, just double check, March 2003, the council approved ordinance number 286, which was also designated as Chapter 17.72, and that was the creation of the Miami Historical District. It created a design review board, but it was never codified. So what you have is you have a current, I think in your current code, 1772, you have a design review board section, which really should have been repealed, and ordinance number 286 should have taken its place. As it was drafted, it really wasn't clear. So I think in order to clarify this, and I can tell you I've read both, and the historic preservation ordinance is much better, much cleaner, much clearer, and more follows along better the State Historic Preservation Act and those kinds of things. So I think our recommendation for next time is to bring back to the council, as sort of a formality, a repeal of the current Section 1772, which is the Design Review Board section, and then the readoption of ordinance number 286, which would probably have a new number, to replace that, sort of formalizing the Miami Historic District. So that's the direction we're looking for from council.
In addition, Mayor and Council, the final product is to have the 7 members as a Vice Mayor Gonzalez request, the implementation of that, and then we can finalize the designated area to the state of Arizona. That's the end product with this petition.
Yeah. So both the original in '98 and then the subsequent in 2003 established a historic district, which both referred to the boundaries set forth in the 1997 resource survey completed by SHPO officer Mark Pry. So that currently is your historic district. So if you wanted to redefine that, now would be the time to do that. If you want to redefine it or better clarify it, then we would probably push off a little bit this cleanup act, maybe a month, just so you can decide, or you can discuss it tonight. Do you want to broaden the historic district? Do you want to keep it the same? Do you want to tighten it down? Those kinds of things. But right now, your historic preservation code really isn't in your code. It's just this ordinance floating around, and it shouldn't be.
So, I appreciate that, thanks, both of you. When I read through this, I was wondering what in the world did we do back in 1998 when we started this process, and has it been discussed and handled properly over the last, how many years is that? 22, 23 years? What have we done in that process, if anything? Have we ever worked out issues regarding this kind of control and process? And let me be more specific. We have a lot of people that have come to Miami, invested their money in downtown Miami, and I want to be sure that what we do going forward doesn't have any impact on the existing businesses, and it doesn't discourage new business opportunities because we have this particular ordinance in place. So I'm at a point where I think we ought to push this out for 45 days or so and try to figure out what we're doing and why we're doing it.
And maybe that's a good point, because the ordinance 286 actually creates a zoning overlay district, so it is a land use regulation. And so it could trigger some land use type issues if you were to sort of re-adopt it and try to enforce it now. You would only be able to enforce it going forward, so if there were improvements that didn't meet the criteria of this ordinance, you wouldn't be able to enforce it going backwards. But I think what you said is probably a wise move, is to kind of slow it down a little bit. I mean, it's been, like you said, 25 years practically, and so another couple of months, that won't hurt.
We have this facade project that's coming up, and as an example, I don't want to do anything to stop that project. It's very important that we move forward with it, and this might have an effect. I don't know, and I don't like not knowing. So if I can,
You gotta,
go ahead.
Thank you. Carol Broder, 525 West Sullivan Street. I very much appreciate Mayor Madrid's comments and his suggestion to move it out about 45 days. Actually, before I came to the meeting tonight, really not knowing anything about this, I was going to ask if we could hold, I'm not going to call it a work session, because I know that oftentimes in council work sessions, the public is not able to speak. But I am going to ask, especially if you're pushing it out 45 days, if we could have some sort of public meeting or public hearing, so that the business owners and who own buildings, I'm not even sure the boundaries of the historic district, to be honest with you. But those of us who may own businesses, buildings, and also live there might have an opportunity to speak.
That's a great idea, and I think that's a very important part of our decision-making process on this issue. But first we have to understand what it is, and is it going to be retroactive? I think I heard our lawyers say, no, it's not, and that's good, but the facade project hadn't started, so, let's understand what we're doing.
And Mayor, historic preservation could be part of your strategic planning discussion as well, because
it could. We could roll it in there.
So so pushing it out, I think it's a good idea to basically not enforce either of these. I mean, you have this design review committee that's never been populated with any member, so I don't think it would really create any harm if you decided we're not going to enforce ordinance number 286. You haven't done it in 25 years. So again, waiting 45 days, 2 months isn't really going to create any harm in my view.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a clue what the pros and cons are on an issue like that. Go ahead.
Nora Green again, 320 West Live Oak. I have a good friend that's on the preservation committee for the state of Arizona, and I also was the curator of the Ely County Historical Society before becoming a member, business owner here, but I'm a lifelong resident. We have lost so many of our historic buildings. It's just sickening. It's appalling. We should all be embarrassed. And business owners should, the state has a requirement that we're supposed to be preserving these buildings as they were back when they were built. I mean, they are actually starting to override a lot of municipalities, is my understanding, because they want it for future generations. And with the facade project, I just kept hearing some strange colors that weren't even within the alignment of what you're trying to do as far as preservation, projects. So I'm thankful that you guys are going to hold off. I think we need to go in there and really approach it with clear heads, and be respectful of the town and our future. So, not just for personal gain.
There's going to be difference of opinions on what this all is, but we got to begin with understanding what the law says, what are our obligations, and what are the pros and cons on each of the directions that we could go with this thing? And then go from there. And I want to invite the public. I want all of you to let us know up here what you're thinking and, you know, how it might affect you one way or the other. And
Thank you.
we want to take care of our people,
Thank you.
bottom line. Okay.
Mayor and council, a very important point. The facade project and your public hearings can be contradictory. Because if you go with your project, establishing these colors, and then all of a sudden you're gonna have your public hearing, and those colors is not approachable by the law, what's gonna happen? This is a very important decision that we need to be taking. If we're gonna hold the project.
This is why that came up, because of the facade project?
No.
I mean, 22 years later, we're gonna throw this in our lap and cancel or hold back the facade project? I mean, come on, Alexis, that's not the way to do business.
Mayor, with all due respect, this information came up in order to finalize a process that never was done. The historic preservation never was presented to the state of Arizona. And it was a map design created, but never was furthermore. Now the SHPO is in support of the town of Miami, and they want to bring grants in order to support this project. That's the reason we bring to the table. This is previous administrations are the ones that never take the consideration. And with the support of the vice mayor, they bring this concern. We are working in pro of the town. We want to create a better place, but at the same time, we need to take decisions like this one. We need to put it on the table. And what is the best for the town?
You know, with that kind of mindset, Alexis, this should have been done way before we even discussed the project. And here we are, the 11th hour, trying to get it going, and this pops up. I wouldn't be surprised if we called the city of Jerome or Safford or any of these other places, because they've gone through a facade type project. And you go through their towns and they have tours galore coming through there because they love to see that kind of stuff. And what would they do? Did the colors of the paint of the buildings really have an effect on historical values? Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Ray Webb, 137 South Miami Avenue.
Hey, Ray.
I was a former chairman of the Historic Preservation Board here in Miami, and there was an ordinance that was repealed due to a voter initiative that was started by a person here that was afraid of what historic preservation was. So that has been removed from the records because that whole ordinance was repealed. Everybody is so afraid of historic preservation. Now with SHPO, with the state of Arizona, it has to fall under the government, the federal government regulations. And they are not that strict. And what this whole process of historic preservation has to do with you guys, and they call that a central localized government. You guys are going to work with the community, the business owners, the property owners. You will have hearings because you cannot pass this along until you get the community involved, and it is what you decide. And it's what you decide that fits within the guidelines of the federal government. And I'm telling you, it's not as difficult as everyone wants to put it. It's this crap about, I can't change the color of my building if it doesn't. Well, if you guys say that we can only have green buildings in the central localized government in your new ordinance, then that's the way it is. But it does not have to be that way because federal government doesn't care. You know, in fact, there's so little that has to be of the building to still be historically preserved. So we need to move forward on this because there is revenue out there to help us do things to preserve these buildings. This facade program, if you work with the facade program before this ordinance, the central, the process of historic preservation is put in place, then you're stuck with whatever was done with the program, the facade program. But please do not, and all of you, do not think that I can't change my doorknob. That's not true. And that's what happened the last time that that ordinance was repealed, is because people got this, false whatever, And as I don't remember what that initiative was written, it was actually really phony because the yes meant a no. So people thought they were voting to preserve the historic preservation, and they actually voted against it. So please just don't get all excited and rush into this. We just need to move through this process the correct way. And I have faith that you will. So thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate knowing that you had some experience with that first round. We could use your help.
I'm already on board.
Chuck Ryder, 525 West Sullivan. In some ways I agree with Ray, in other ways I disagree with him. First of all, if any of you know any businessmen in Globe, they have a historic district, and I know many businessmen who are dissatisfied with some of the regulations that have been provided by the commission, and has resulted in many wanting to move out of Globe because of it. Also, I have been on a commission in another town, was also the chairman at one point, and yes, it's true what Ray said about the color, but where it begins and where it ends is with the commission. So if my experience was, if I was friends with another person and a few people on that board, then I could get things through. But if I wasn't a friend with one of them, a few of them, then I had to really prove that it was historically correct. Okay? I mean, there was an instance where the city attorney bought a bar, and I was told that the door, I was on the commission, I was told the door was historically correct by the person who was representing the city on the commission, and I argued the point, and then later when he left town, it was said, no, that wasn't a historically correct door. So, I mean, it's politics, is what it becomes.
Sounds like it.
Need the swinging doors like Gunsmoke.
What it was a kitchen door.
Oh, wrong door.
Okay, I guess we got a lot of work to do, but I want a motion for approval of a 45-day delay.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the 45-day push-out.
So the mayor, motion to approve 45-day, and Councilman Stewart seconded. We're good to go.
I'm not quite sure what happened. I think it sounded like we had two motions and a second.
Right, we may want to do that again.
Yeah, let's start with a motion.
All right, starting again, I'll make a motion to accept the 45-day push-out.
Okay, so like to table 45 days?
Table it.
Correct.
I can motion,
Second, we misunderstood you.
That's all right. I'll second that.
Mode had already seconded it earlier.
I didn't hear that one. Sorry.
Twice.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, let's vote. Those who...
I got a question. So, a couple of questions. with this 45 window, this is going to be part of the strategic planning within that 45 window. And in 45 days, it's going to come back to council for approval after it's been discussed in the strategic. I'm a little bit confused because we talked about strategic and then we're talking about 45-day window, so I need a little bit of some clarification on that.
The 45-day window is just in regards to this particular issue, historical history, that we're going to either get rid of, rewrite the ordinance, or go forward with it. And we need to understand what are the pros and cons. So it's not going to affect what we're doing on March the 1st with our strategic planning. It's not going to change that strategic plan to any degree. I don't see where you're at with.
I'm confused about where we're at on this.
If I might,
Go ahead, Councilman.
and you're both kind of correct. The issue before us today is to direct the attorney to do something with this, or not. Okay. What the motion is to postpone that decision for 45 days.
Right.
During that time period, there will be a planning session that may affect what direction we give them in 45 days to go out, 45 days hence, put together an ordinance consistent with whatever plans are generated from the planning meeting in terms of the direction that we should go. That's the way I understand it. I think that's consistent with what you're saying,
That's
Mr.
what I'm
Mayor.
saying.
And I think that answers your question. And I think that's legal and what his motion said and what the second said. So the issue now is, if there's no further discussion, are we in favor of the motion to push it out 45 days?
That's where I'm at.
So that's going to be part of the discussion on the 1st.
Yes,
And this way we have a direction to give when it comes out in 45 days. So do we need 45 days or do we need?
Depends on when you finalize your study results.
Right. Is that enough time or is that going to be?
Well, I would suggest you push it out, table it for 45 days. We can always push it out further if need be. But if you sort of table it for 90, then you can't get back to it until that 90 days. So, and there's really, it's really a two-step issue here. One is you've got these two conflicting parts of the code, section 1772 of the zoning code. I think the intent in 2003 was to replace the Design Review Board, which focused on design review of historic preservation, with the Historic Preservation Code, which really focused on the historic preservation part and had less sort of design review. And it really met, and that ordinance talks about meeting the Department of Interior standards, the SHPO standards, those kinds of things. And it also creates a Historic Preservation Commission, which is advisory to the council ultimately, so it's like the Planning Commission, in that it advises the council. So I think in 45 days, I would suggest between now and then that if it does come up as a topic at strategic planning session, it wouldn't be a bad idea, because historic preservation is part of, I think, an overall strategy for a lot of communities. And second is take a look at, or maybe in 45 days have the folks, we can publicize or publish the ordinance on the website, have folks take a look at it, and then they can come and say what they like about it, what they don't like about it, whether it works, whether it doesn't work, suggest changes. Because we're not stuck with Ordinance 286, but we need to replace the current code with something or get rid of it altogether. But right now you've got these two conflicting code sections and it's just not workable. And obviously nobody's really taken any action on it. So that's kind of what I see as the 45 days, is just to give folks time, to take a look at the ordinance. It's accessible, I think online. It'll be on the website, and presumably ordinance number 286, can it be accessible or some?
I can put it on.
Okay, yeah, that'll give people time to look at it and also give the council time to look at it and kind of figure out what it is you like, don't like, or if you want to go some different direction.
It's on our agenda for the March 1.
That's true, yeah, it is.
So my second question that I have then, is that going to allow the facade program to continue, or is that going to be a hold until after the 45 days?
That's going to create a whole price barrier because depending on the structure that is designed on your policy is the one that you need to take in action on that project. At the same time, your 7 members of the board can help on that project. You can fix the policy first, go for the selection of the members, and that selection of members can work and design and create and grow the project.
So it'll be on a halt until we finalize this?
Yes.
Why is it on a halt?
If you design, let's say there's going to be red, yellow, green, and we have a black, blue, and purple, that's not going towards the policy that was created by the town of Miami. That's the whole recommendation, as the councilor is saying, we work with the policy first. We create the 7 members, and then from that 7 members, we receive mayor and council opinion, and we make that strategy part. Then from that point, then you can move forward with the project, because you have the guidelines already.
Alexis, I can't even visualize 7 members that have the qualifications that this ordinance defines in here.
4 or 5.
But when you say that we can't do that, we already know what the paint colors are going to be.
Mayor and council, we're not saying no. We want to make sure that what we can design and create don't affect the project. That's the main goal. The design, the creation of this policy can be conducted with the 7 members of the group, can go furthermore, not only the facade, any other future project from the town.
So you're saying either stinking way, we're gonna delay the facade project. If I were to say, let's vote for what you want to do, we're still gonna delay the facade project.
No, that's not my recommendation. Is we can table it for 45 days, put the policy in place in conjunction with the lawyer, and after that, bring it to work with the 7 members, selection of the 7 members, and then continue the progress of the project.
If there are 7 members.
We got a motion.
Well, I don't agree that we have to stop the facade project, but
We have a motion, right?
we have a motion. So those in favor of a 45-day delay, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Just for the record, when we worked through this 45 days trying to understand what it is and what it isn't, and get some feedback from our business owners and the public, I really want to see a synopsis that accompanies this ordinance and code document to clarify what the heck we're trying to accomplish with this. And you said we could get some grants. That's your opinion. How real is that? And why couldn't we get the grants going forward?
Back in October 2024, there was a meeting in Brilliant Plaza with SHPO and some of the federal agency. And one of the recommendations from them was that the moment that you establish your board and establish your designated historical area, that you can, in conjunction with them, start applying for funding. And that's going to create a better opportunity for the members of business owners in the town of Miami.
I'd like to see the minutes of that meeting. I want to understand it, Alexis. Okay?
We don't have any minutes, but I can provide the staff that was present from the state of Arizona on that meeting.
All right. What's next on the agenda? Find it, I lost it here.
9E.
Okay, 9E, information and discussion only. Information and discussion regarding the economic future of the town of Miami. Alexa.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, in front of you, you're going to find out the urgent memo that I presented on January 28th to the Mayor and Council regarding to some administration decision from Washington, D.C. I bring the copies that you can see that we are M2513 from January 27 from the White House. It's actually for the Office of Management and Budget. After that memorandum, I sent another action plan to Mayor and Council regarding to the funding hold that the town of Miami is having. In addition to that, I include the funding from the transaction privilege tax that we can lost from the state of Arizona. Using those financial basis, I present the action plan to hold from 6 to 8 months, salary increase, purchase, and the review the one-to-one basis, no urgent services, delayed significant acquisition of assets, travel required by the 100% of the funding for the town that's going to be in hold, only reimbursement of the limitation of the gas and meals. And the reason for that is because we don't know. Right now we have $2.3 million that was awarded, and we don't know the future of that funding. Without knowing that, we need to create some elements of safety on the operation of the town of Miami. On this page, the 11 by 17, you can see at the bottom the town of Miami funding that is still in hold, that is $993,500. But at the same time, I'm presenting on the red all the towns with a similar situation that is 37 millions. This paper showing the cities, towns, reservations, and private sector is still not receiving the funding due to this situation at the federal government. We're talking about $200 million that is in hold in projects. That's the reason I'm presenting this opportunity to create a better balance in our operation. It's necessary. This is not like the, with all the respect, the stock market that you're playing. We're not playing. We have a staff, we have a community that we need to take care of. And the best way to create that balance without knowing the future of the financials, I present this opportunity. This is the best way. And that was the reason when I was interviewed, what happens if we have shortage of revenue? Create a plan, and that's what I'm doing. I'm creating a plan and pro the town.
Well, it's my understanding, according to what the memorandums we got in the last session from our lawyer, that our town manager can make recommendations, but it's up to the council and the mayor to approve it. Am I wrong?
No, that's correct. When it comes to developing the budget, the manager's going to work to develop a proposed budget. Ultimately, the council approves it as it sees fit.
And the councilman have any comments on this before I
Yes, sir.
comment? Go ahead.
We've asked our town manager to manage within the plan set forth by the budget. And we hold him responsible for the financial performance of the town going forward. When you get an unprecedented action by an outside agency, the federal government, that threatens major revenue upon which the plan is based, we look to the expert to come up with some alternatives on how we protect ourselves from going belly up as a result of expenditures to the plan based on revenue that we suspect may not arrive in as much quantity as anticipated, or perhaps not at all. I think not doing anything, and in fact, I was part of, when I saw the memo that Alexis sent as I went down and said, what are we gonna do? And I suggested that he prepare some plans to protect us from fiscal and financial disaster should these freezes on funds continue. Now, they may not, based on some of the court actions that we see. Some may, and probably the way it'll come out is some will stand and some will fall. But right now, if we commit and spend the money and we don't get the supporting revenue, we're now in a downward spiral again. Over the last couple of years, we've been going upward in our financial solidarity. This kind of unprecedented federal action, and I don't mean to be Chicken Little, but it's an existential threat to the town of Miami and every other small town in the country. Not to mention many, many various programs going on across the country and across the world. I think it would be foolish to sit here as a council and try to analyze in the depth that this gentleman has what this all means. He's the guy with the numbers, that's what we pay him for. I mean, if you choose to disregard that, then maybe you ought to have his job, but I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't take it. It's numbers, and you have to be cognizant of their impact and what if, and you can't afford to take chances with the existence of the town, in my opinion. Now, if you think otherwise, then you're free to do so, but I think these are reasonable responses to the threat that is posed by the government that we currently have at the federal level.
Well, I appreciate your comments and your insight. And the comment that I made to Alexis and the lawyer wasn't about whether we should go forward with this that he's put together. It was who has to decide. And according to the memorandum, it is the council and the mayor that control that decision, not the town manager.
Not the mayor, it's the council.
Well, I'm
And you're
part of the council.
Part of the council, you're
Like
you're not.
you know what I mean, okay? And for Pete's sake.
It's the council.
It's the council that has to approve it, not the town manager, okay? And personally, my private opinion is, it's It's happening in a fashion that is moving fast, moving forward. And the news that I read, the information that I get, is completely different. There are no pauses in the U.S. funding. The pauses are on international funding. And so now we're going to go ahead and just not let our staff and our hard-working people that we depend on get their increases for 6 to 8 months because we moved too fast, okay? So in my opinion, it's just an opinion. It's his opinion, it's my opinion, it's your opinion. We're all dealing with opinions.
Could I have an
So
opinion?
I have one issue, and I'll work with Alexis. We've been talking about this for several days. I think it's premature, but if what happens at the federal level continues to happen, it's not going to be 6 or 8 months. It's going to be 1 or 2 months. And then it's going to come back, and we're going to be okay. And in that respect, I want to make sure the staff gets retro pay when we get it. Why are we punishing them because we're moving too fast? That's my opinion, okay? So, anybody else?
My opinion? I've worked with Alexis quite a while now, and I give him a nickname and he doesn't like it. I call him the octopus because he's got tentacles everywhere. He reaches out to grants, government. His networking is amazing. And I don't think there's a better qualified person to have at the helm right now than Alexis. And I don't care where you go, we're very fortunate. Not only that, I understand that because of his talents and the situations that we have, there's going to be people reaching out to him and offering him an offer that he couldn't refuse. That's what worries me. But right now, we should support him, encourage him, and work with him, okay? And like you said, that's my opinion. Thank you.
I just told you, I'm willing to work with Alexis. It's just a sad day where we listen to the news and we run crazy with decisions that impact people's lives, okay? And so I'm willing to work with it, but I want to be sure that this is in the minutes, Karen, that I want the staff to get retroactive pay when it all comes back together again.
Sounds fair to me.
It should be.
I have no problem with that.
The evening, Council.
I'm glad.
Yeah, the reason of this documentation that I present is to show that there is not only the town of Miami. You have multiple jurisdictions, more than 45 jurisdictions in the state of Arizona with millions, that they don't know when they're going to receive it. We're acting with the support of different agencies at the state level on this recommendation. We're not acting individual. I make my study, but at the same time, not acting in pro of the town of Miami. At the moment that audits can show that we don't perform, I'm the one that's going to be fired because I'm the one that signed the audits. And probably no one is going to remember this option that I put at the table at the moment of the audit. And that's what I want to preserve. We have a finance director, we have a staff, that we want to have the quality. I promised to previous Mayor Gonzalez that this situation show up, I'm going to do my best. And that's what I do it. I promise on a Saturday interview. And that's what I'm doing. The best for this community. It's not for me. It's for the town of Miami. We need to protect our staff. We need to protect our citizens. And this is the best way to do it. We don't know tomorrow. That's the reason we need to have solid decisions.
And Alexis, I agree, okay? But I want retroactive pay included in there.
Retroactive pay is going to be affecting our budget because it was not authorized on previous budget cycle on 2024. We need to be performing based on the approval by the mayor and council on the budget.
I remember, Alexis, in the past that there's been Miami in a lot of elections with other towns that we never get the money. And hopefully that can change through just trying to decide what we're gonna do. I know that being disorganized, we've lost accounts before to other towns that we deserved it just as much. And I'm sure that with you at the helm, that will improve. And I haven't seen any lately or heard about any that we were involved in. Maybe there has been, but I haven't heard about it. But I'm sure that when that comes up, I wish that Miami is on the top end of the stick in the future.
Mayor, Council, I misspoke earlier when you asked me the question about council's decision-making authority. I thought you were asking about going forward with next year's budget, which we're now in budget season, usually starts February. And looking at the email that was behind, unfortunately I didn't see it just enough. And looking at the email of the 6 bullet points, those topics or those decisions are within the purview of the town manager, with one qualifier. So for instance, purchases, non-urgent services, acquiring assets, those kinds of things, travel, certainly travel is within the purview of the town manager. Salary increases, if the council has budgeted and appropriated cost of living increases in this current year's budget, then those have to go forward unless the council peels them back. But merit type increases are always discretionary, through the process, whether it's the department head or the manager decides to, after review, give someone a merit increase. So that's the only sort of caveat there. But if, and again, it depends on the personnel policies about how one earns a merit increase and whether that can be retroactive. Sometimes it is, sometimes not. But that all kind of is dependent. If there's a freeze on it, and between now and July 1st, which is next budget year, then you would have to basically budget in next year's budget the retroactive pay. If you don't spend it this year, it goes to next year. So, I just wanted to be clear that these 6 bullet points are generally in the purview of the town manager decision-making authority. It's the overall budget and appropriations that the manager, gives you his best advice as far as what the budget should look like, and the council can then change that. Like I said, we're moving, even though it's February, we're moving into budget season, as most of you know. You start in February and have it adopted by June. So sort of 2 different things there. I just wanted to be clear on that.
Thank you. Somewhere in here, I could read it back to you, but if that's the case, then the memorandum that you guys gave us in the last session, work session, needs to be modified. So we understand what it is we're supposed to do and not do.
And I'm happy to I can get from Alexis, and we can make any necessary clarifications on that. But like I said, generally speaking, the day-to-day decision-making is within the town manager. The council sets the big broad policy, which would be, the budget and the appropriations. And ultimately, certain purchases would come to the council if they're above a certain number amount too.
Okay, well, I just want to get it right so we all can understand what direction we're going and who's who.
And right now, this is not agendized for any kind of decision, it's really just a discussion, so but we can certainly take a look at that memorandum. If there's any clarification needed, happy to do that.
I'll send you what I'm talking about, so you can refer to it. All right. Where are we?
Fixing it up right here. Here's where we were at. What, 10?
Okay. So number 10, call to council, future agenda items. Nothing there. Any comments? Go ahead.
I know it was mentioned earlier, but at this time, I'd just like to let everybody know that tomorrow is the first round of the Copper tournament for our Miami girls. And so the time is at 7 o'clock. And so if you guys can make it and support our Lady Vandals, that would be great.
Is that at the high school?
At the high school.
Is there any kind of recording or nothing like that, like in the old days? We used to have a video recorder guy who did the game, but he bailed out on us.
Nothing else on call to council?
As usual, we had a pretty good crowd that stuck it out with us, so I really appreciate that, guys. I've been mentioning that it looks like Boomtown Springs, which was just about to fold, is going to make it. So you might be hearing more in the future about the organization and future events. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk to Jesse and Rick over there about. So, but thank you folks that are still here with us. Appreciate that.
Anybody else? Let's move to item 11.
So moved.
Second. Motion to adjourn. Medina. Seconded by Stewart. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.